One thing I've learned, many of them do not like to take accountability. That's why I do not let them hide behind this excuse feminism lied to them. Nobody forced those decisions. They made those choices themselves. It's like a college student picking a major because it sounds exciting and empowering. But after graduation, the job market is tougher than they expected, and now they want to blame the university. No, the student decided to pick the major that sounded exciting to them.
22 is the cutoff. We shouldn't be 25, 26, 27 being a feminist. That's silly. Come on. That is for children. You know what I mean? Imagine crying to the government while saying fuck the government. That makes no sense. If you identify as a feminist, that is like a signal to society that you are a confused woman. You have no idea what's going on in the world. You have no idea how we got here. All the faults of feminism you blame on capitalism, but then you're fighting for the right to be a part of capital. It's just really crazy. Once you're 22, if you haven't started to figure out that, hey, gender roles actually are good for society and I gotta get married, you're fucked. You're fucked, okay?
Online feminist discourse is extremely grating, but not for the reason you'd think. You might assume it's because of the forced input from men or conservatives, but what has me pulling out my hair half the time is the other women. I found that most women's receptivity to feminist messaging is contingent entirely on it not threatening their attachment to victimhood. Many people would consider themselves feminists because they think it's inconsequential. We grew up being told that feminism was about women's happiness. It borrowed heavily from the discourse surrounding abortion, which centered on women's autonomy and right to choose. The actual quest towards women's liberation was too hard and too dangerous. Perverting feminism into being solely about women's choice made it so that the forces that plague women were never seriously criticized. Patriarchy protected itself by centering women's choice without any further investigation into the context that informed those choices.
Whether feminism lied or not, it was still the woman's choice. Feminism didn't remove relationships from women's lives. They chose to distance themselves from men.
Dear feminists, I have to ask you, why do you find it funny to mock the pain of men? Why do you find it funny to mock their loneliness? Why do you find it entertaining to make jokes about looking the other way while your future son gets beaten, abused by his girlfriend? Haha, that's a joke, right? If you want equality, tell me then why you have a problem with when men make those jokes or those comments, please. Because it's not about equality. It's not equality that you want. What it is you want superiority over men. I'm not here to tell you to stop believing what you believe. I don't think I have the power to do that. But I am challenging you to acknowledge your belief system, which doesn't line up with what you say feminism really is about.
My hot take is that feminism is the biggest joke. And before you come at me, just hear me out. Before feminism, families were united. Men and women were united. They understood each other. They took care of each other. They knew how each other worked. They knew what the other person needed. And families were actually built upon loyalty, trust, and connection. Nowadays, women are told, you can be independent. You don't need to have a family. You don't need a man. And the result is women are miserable because they are living a life that is not true to them. That is not something they were naturally born to do. And men are miserable because they have to choose between being single or being with a woman who never appreciates them, never respects them, and doesn't love them in the way that they need. The fact that we think feminism actually helped our society, yes, maybe it helped some women who were being abused or who were actually in devastating relationships, but for the most part, it caused a lot more destruction than it did good to our society in general. You can try and prove me wrong, but look.
And that narrative that all these women were in abusive relationships, that's garbage.
And I quote from Mary Anne Franks, "Society would be better off as a whole if more women were willing to engage in justified violence against men." She continued, "To that end, women's justified violence against men should be encouraged, protected, and publicized." So this is proof that feminism since the beginning hasn't even been about rights, it's always been about revenge. When you openly call for the justification of public violence against half of the population, that's really not about equality, so don't let feminists tell you it's about equality. It never has been.
And there it is. It's always been about revenge, and that's why so many women followed it. They chose this lifestyle.
I did not know that the feminist rhetoric had gotten so bad, like it's so far gone, to the point where it has convinced you ladies that motherhood is not even worth doing. Wow, that's crazy.
It's crazy to me that nowadays, societally, some problems have gotten so big that people are creating the problem within the problem. Like, we're getting to a point where the feminists, and I don't mean feminists as a dirty word, I just mean like people who identify as feminists, are using misogyny to combat misogyny. Like, how will you ever win with that tactic? Like, I saw this video on my main account, like, basically this dude, he was like, oh, you know, men don't stand up to other men because they're afraid of getting beaten up. And like, basically, you know, all the comments are like, oh yeah, these men, they're scared, da 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 da. I'm like, bro, that's literally toxic masculinity. Like, you're literally making fun of men for being scared of being beaten up by other men. And the thing is, there are actual good feminist arguments to be made, but it's like we're so deep inside of the patriarchy, inside of misogyny, that people can't make them without being misogynistic themselves. It's like they're responding to overt misogyny, and they feel like their response has to be so strong, they then use I was about to say covert misogyny, but no, other overt misogyny. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't see how you can make videos like that and not understand what you're doing. And it's like, truly, how is feminism ever going to win if I can always point out the misogyny within what you're doing? And that's how I feel about misandry too. You understand, bro? If you look through these like internet nonsense, a good at least 70% of misandry, and I'm lowballing, is literally just misogyny towards men. Literally telling men they're being girly, being feminine, and that's like bad. You know what I mean? So it's like when you get on here and you say something like, oh, feminism isn't just hating men, and they're like, oh, you just want us to stop hating the men. And it's like, no, like you're also harming what it is that you want to accomplish.
See, it's one thing to tell women they can do it all, have a career, raise a family. But the one part they want to ignore, a lot of women love to bash men.
You want to know something that most women aren't ready to hear? Modern feminism killed chivalry. Modern feminism has shifted from seeking equality to promoting superiority and resentment towards men, framing men as oppressors rather than partners and equals. With the birth of modern feminism, there came the birth of the girl boss, I don't need a man. Chivalry was never meant to make women look weak. It was made to create a culture of mutual respect where men acted honorably towards women and acknowledged their virtue and grace. Modern feminism, by demanding sameness instead of equality, has blurred those lines. In trying to erase gender differences, it's erased the gestures that celebrate them. The result of this is now we have an entire generation of men who are not willing to honor, pursue, or protect women. We have this entire generation of men who just want to hook up on the first date, who have no respect for women, who don't hold open the door, who don't buy flowers, and it is because of modern feminism.
Ma'am, that may be true. Just because I do not open the door for you or buy you flowers does not mean I am being disrespectful. But many women think this way because they are entitled.
Not only that, but it is also a result of weak men. There's a reason that our grandparents have the cutest love stories where the men pursued the women and they didn't have sex until they were married and they respected and honored each other. And now we are seeing the result of the crash and burn of modern feminism. And unfortunately, it is affecting a lot of women looking for life partners and a lot of men looking for life partners. Feminism is great. The idea of feminism is great to promote equality, but it has evolved into something that is toxic and dangerous to our society.
Yeah, because many women want modern equality, but still expect treatment from the 1950s. Independence on one side, traditional privileges on the other.
Alright guys, it's time to take off the rose-colored glasses because modern feminism isn't just affecting women, it's destroying men too, and whether intentional or not, it's been used to tear apart everything that made society stable. Whether modern feminism was designed this way or just co-opted by forces that benefit from family breakdown, this movement is affecting women and men in the worst ways possible in today's society, and we need to have a little conversation about it. Think about what modern feminism has done to women. It taught us that needing a man makes us weak, that being feminine is oppressive, that motherhood is a trap, and that career success is the only thing that matters. We've been programmed to compete with men instead of complement them, to see traditional roles as beneath us, and to believe that independence means isolation. But what about men? Modern feminism told them that their natural instincts to lead and protect are toxic masculinity. It shamed them for wanting to be providers and protectors. Men have been emasculated and told that everything masculine about them is problematic. So now many are confused about their role, afraid to approach women, and walking on eggshells constantly. And here's the crazy part. Women have spent decades emasculating men, and now they're complaining that men aren't masculine enough. We told them to be more emotional, more sensitive, more in touch with their feelings, and now we're upset that they're not strong leaders anymore. We shame them for being assertive, called their confidence toxic, and told them their natural instincts were wrong. But then we turn around and complain that there are no real men left.
And there it is. The one thing I have learned is this: no matter what, they will complain. All right, that's it for this video. Until the next one. Peace.